guys, it's Steph from iDriver Classic, and today I'm back with my latest video for Drive It Day. For those of you out there who don't know what Drive It Day is, it's a day dedicated to taking your classic car out, enjoying the features and benefits of it, but for one day only. So today I'm going to talk to you about my Drive It life, because I've been driving a classic car every day for the last 10 years. So in this video I'm going to talk to you about what that's been like, some of the benefits of it, and also I'm going to tell you why you should make Drive It Day your Drive It life. So buckle up, because we're heading out in my very first classic car, a 1969 Morris Minor named Martha. I've had feedback that for some of you, your favourite bit of the video is the car starting. So to make sure that everybody's happy and enjoys the video, even though it's not a car review, I'm going to start the car today. But before I start the car, I'm just going to show you what some of the bits and pieces are on the dash. Because I'm sure for some of you, you may not have seen a Morris Minor before, and you're wondering what you've got. By the way, this is my lucky magnet here. It's the Queen. So I'm just going to turn on this first so you can see what the lights are. So this is the oil light. And that kind of comes on when your oil's low, or at the moment I'm having a bit of an oil pressure issue with my engine, so occasionally it comes on. And then this is the ignition light. So this comes on, or it should come on when you turn the car on. And if your battery is not charging properly, it'll kind of flicker. So it's a really good indication that you need to have a look at the health of your battery. And then this is the windscreen washer jets. This is the windscreen wipers. These are the side lights and full. This is the choke. So for those of you who may not know what choke does, you pull it out and it helps you start the car. So just check we're in neutral, and I'm going to turn the key again to get the car started. I'll give it a little rev for you as well so you can hear how she sounds. And now we've done that, I think it's time to head off on a little drive. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I picked a classic car, why you should venture into the world of classic cars, and how classic cars changed my life and enabled me to take my classic every day and make it my Drive It life. But as we're talking about classic cars being driven daily, I wanted to dispel some of the myths I'd seen online. So as we go for a little drive, because it is Drive It Day after all, I'll clear up some of the common misconceptions I've seen online. Number one. It's a hot topic and everyone's talking about it at the moment, and that's the environment. So I keep hearing classic cars bad for the environment, they shouldn't be out. And yes, it is true, none of my cars would match or beat the emissions and green standards of today's cars, but I wanted to drill down a little deeper with a fact that I heard on the radio earlier this week, which got me thinking, is a new car really as green as the manufacturers would like you to think when you think about the bigger picture? Now back to what I'd heard on the radio. So I got told it takes 3 years worth of one human's drinking water to make one cotton t-shirt. And I kind of thought about it and thought, that t-shirt is so insignificant in your life. Like, you might wear it for a little bit, you might get it away. But a car is a big deal. So therefore, how much is it taking to make one car if it's taking that much to make one t-shirt? And I started thinking about it, and I thought about things like electric car batteries, which can't be recycled, to plastic panels, to components, which are often wrapped in plastic. And then on top of that, all the man hours and all the shipping and things like the factories running those, and just all those drains on the Earth's natural resources and adding to the landfill crisis. And I started to do a bit of digging online actually, but of course no manufacturers actually stepped up and said, oh, actually we use this much and we use this much energy to make a car. But if I do find out what it actually takes and I can toss it up against a classic car, I'll be the first person to update you all. Now, for those of you that are saying, well, we can't all drive old cars, I realise we aren't in Cuba and we can't keep repurposing, but a classic car is really such a villain when you consider all the elements of a new car. Personally, I don't think so. And I would never want to deny somebody the pleasure of enjoying a new car. But we do need to be real about it. A classic car is not worse in the long run. It just looks bad on paper. And with car lifespans getting shorter and shorter, and people just finding it harder to keep them running for longer financially, and things being obsolete so quickly, is it really fair to say that classic cars are the villain of environmental harmony? In reality, every car being made and being run harms the environment, and there's nothing that any figures cooked up can do about that. The next thing is probably my favourite, and I've heard it so many times over the last 10 years, which is a classic car cannot be driven daily. This is actually one of my favourites because a car is a car, and no matter how new or old, it can be driven every day, but the more you drive it, the more you need to replace the consumables, and it really is as simple as that. Because when you break it down, cars, even though I have given mine a personality, are essentially machines, and machines are better when used, hence the phrase well-oiled machine. Now, I've certainly found myself that when I don't use one of the cars for a long time and then just throw it back into service, little niggles suddenly spring out of nowhere as if to say, actually, I was enjoying my retirement. So yeah, you can drive a classic car every day, but it's just a case of whether you're prepared to. The downside to driving a classic every day is they do end up more tatty, but for me, that's a small price to pay for enjoying the car I drive, day in and day out. I get to wake up every morning knowing that I'll get to work or wherever I'm going in my favourite mode of transport. And that's why I'm not actually too bothered by the tatty paintwork, dulled chrome, or things not looking as perfect as they could. And the upside of driving a car is this. You get to drive your car that you love, and you have more fun than you would in one of those faceless cars on finance that you see milling down the motorway, usually in shades of black, white, silver, or some other boring colour. And yeah, you might not get to be where you need to be every single time, but honestly, the pleasure outweighs the very occasional pain. And then this one could be a little bit controversial with people, but I'm always hearing classic cars are more expensive than modern cars. And I don't think that's true. And I really do think that you can run a classic car long term for less than a brand new car. And here's my basic thought process, so feel free to challenge me. With your classic car, it's a one-off cost. Cars on finance tend to be a pay-by-month option, and the value of the car plummets the money it rolls off the forecourt. Your classic, you've bought it once and now you own it. And unless you've bought it outright, your finance car is going to keep coming out your bank account monthly. And some of them are even limited on mileage, which, no thank you, I'd rather crack on and enjoy adventure. And then things break. A classic car, once you've kind of got a bit of knowledge under your belt, you can probably have a go at fixing it yourself. Your modern car, good luck. It's covered in plastic under that bonnet and needs a computer, so it's expensive garage visits all round. Insurance. It's a bit tricky for me to comment on your personal situation, but for me, right now, I pay less than £300 for all my cars, and that covers me on one policy, unlimited mileage and breakdown cover. To get a modern car, I'm quoted £2,000 on a comparison site for a similar engine size to Jill. And finally, selling the car. If you look after your car, new or old, they will be worth more, but the classic will always come out tops in terms of what you've originally spent. New cars now seem to lose their value so quickly. I mean, you can buy a decent runaround which isn't old at all for peanuts. It's crazy. So now that I've cleared up some of the common misconceptions, I'm going to flip that camera back around and have a little chat with you about my experiences of classic car ownership, and also what you need to be looking out for when you buy your classic car. And be warned, I'm going to be brutally honest. Guys, when I started my Instagram page in 2013, I noticed that a lot of people weren't being completely honest about what they were doing, or kind of really just highlighting the best bits of their lives. So I always said that when I started my Instagram page, I was going to be really honest. Breakdowns, failures, all the things that were part of the classic car life. It's not just the pretty pictures, it's not just trips out to the seaside and all the other things that you see people doing on Instagram. There's a lot of hard graft in the background too. But that's not what I'm going to focus on right now. One of the things I want to focus on, in the vein of being honest, is that, and it's something really hard for me to admit, is that when I first got my classic car, I didn't really have a massive group of friends, and I was at uni, but I hadn't really clicked with kind of a massive group of people like I saw other people doing, and I felt a little bit like a square peg in a round hole because I didn't drink and I wasn't massively outgoing. And then I got my classic car and everything changed. So I got the classic car, Martha, in 2009, and things started going wrong pretty quickly. Really, really quickly, in fact, within the first couple of weeks. And it was a really big leap for me to start asking for help, because I hate asking for help. And I went on these forums, and again, forums were a bit of a weird thing. They're not so much anymore, like it's such a natural thing for me to start talking to people on. And very quickly I made friends. So by 2010 I'd started going to rallies, and I'd started meeting people as well of my own age with classic cars. So nowadays, if you're out there sat at home and you're kind of the age I was, so teenager, early 20s, and you've got such a big world out there to make friends with your classic car as well. So groups like so you've got your young members clubs, you've got your, I think Triumph have got one, Morris Minors have got one obviously, and then you've got kind of your young classic car pages as well. So that's all I can say to you guys really, is that one of the biggest benefits for me of getting a classic car was it changed me as a person. It meant that I made friends, it meant that I went out and I stopped feeling less like a square peg and I started feeling like a round peg. And my round hole was the classic car community and meeting these people. And now I would say that 90% of my friends are from some weird classic car connection. And we've been to some amazing places. We've been to Wales, we've been to Scotland, and we've been to France with the Morris Minor Owner Club. So if you're sat at home right now watching this video and thinking, I do want a classic car, but who's going to be there to support me? I didn't have that support network to start off with. I went out and I found that support network, and you can too. So if you're sat at home and you're thinking, oh, you know, and it's that last barrier to get you over the hurdle, I promise you that you will make those friends and it will completely change your life. So it's time to start looking, because classic cars are the thing that will change your life. I get quite a few of you guys messaging me saying, I really love your car, where did you get it, where can I get my first car, or who should I be speaking to about finding my first car? Now, you need to work out a few different things before you buy your first car. Number one is budget. So if you've got several £1,000s, you're going to get a much better car than if you've only got a few £100s to play with. The next thing you need to work out is how technical are you, or how technical do you want to be. So do you want to be taking a car for, you know, do you want to buy a car that you're going to have to fully rebuild? Do you want a car that's ready? And so once you've kind of gelled out how much money you've got and how much you can afford to spend, you need to start thinking about what you actually want to drive. So for me, I wasn't, if I'm honest with you, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to drive. All I knew was I only wanted a classic car. I didn't want to drive anything else daily. So in the spirit of talking about Drive It Life, I picked a Morris Minor, and you can pick other cars like Minis and Beetles and stuff that, if you want to go for something as old as this, that are great for daily driving. And the thing you want to be looking for first and foremost is your parts availability. So I was really honest on my Metro video that parts availability is not great, and some things I really have to wait for, or I've had stuff sent from abroad. Whereas with a Morris Minor, there's so many suppliers in the UK that if I order before 3 PM, it's there the next working day. And this might be controversial to some people, but I would then say it means that it's easy to drive a classic car every day. It doesn't mean that you have to worry about stuff, and especially if you go for a later model like Martha, it's such an easy thing to do to drive every day. For those of you that are still considering and you think, well, don't want a Morris Minor, go on the Owners Club's forums. The Owners Club's forums are amazing, and you've got people that are practically experts in these cars that you can talk to. And it's just about building that network of people that you can rely on. And I certainly wouldn't be where I was today without the Morris Minor Owner Club forums and the club itself. And they're just great, and you can ask people to come and have a look at cars with you. And that's something that I would advocate. If you are looking for your first classic car, grab somebody and ask them to come with you, because there's nothing worse, honestly. And I've done it myself. I've done it on 2 different cars, and that's me probably being more honest than I should be. I've bought a car because I really liked it, not because it was the right car. Oh, it's lovely, I love it, it's the colour I want. Yeah, it was the colour I wanted, but it didn't have a floor. Half of it was made from fiberglass. It's not great, is it? So now I'm stuck with a car on my driveway that I can't drive because it's made up of fiberglass, bits of rust, and various patches upon patches. So make sure when you're picking your car that you are taking somebody with you. You are checking the car. And guys, if you're not sure about what you're buying, don't buy it, because there's nobody who knows your gut instinct better than you. So yeah, that's my advice for you. Number 1, make sure you're not buying a rotten old banger like I did. Number 2, ask people for help. People love helping, and ask for advice as well. Quite often people will offer to come and have a look with you, and don't take that as gospel, kind of take it as a bit of a second opinion. And number 3, start searching everywhere, and also determine what your budget is, because I started with quite a big budget, so I managed to get Martha, and she's a good car. But for you guys at home, you might not have that budget. I know that some of you guys are trying to get by on a budget of a few £100, and don't let anybody put you off, because cars come up every week, and if you don't find your car this week, you might find it next week or next month, and there are plenty to go round. It's been so nice to share Drive It Day with you guys and show you what it's like to drive a classic car, talk to you a little bit about how the last 10 years have been, and hopefully for those of you that have been teetering on the edge of getting your first classic car or taking your car out a little bit more, I hope I've persuaded you to make Drive It Day your Drive It life. If you've enjoyed the video today, please do hit like, comment below with any classic car questions you've got, and don't forget to hit subscribe because new videos go up every single Sunday. In the meantime, take care and drive safely.